So my previous video, I said I was going to do a comparison between the Honshu, I hate this name, tactical katana, excuse me, it's not a wakizashi, it's a katana, to a traditional katana. So, going to do some various things. I'm going to see how they do with just drawing it for katas. Then we'll go outside and we'll compare how they handle cutting. Okay. Now, I tried to get a sword in my collection that was close enough to weight-wise to, the Honshu. So here's a list I did of comparisons of weighing them. So the Honshu weighs 2 pounds, 15.5 ounces. That's a heavy sword. So, and I've done reviews on all these. So you go back in my playlist and you can find them all. So my Lee sword is 2 pounds, 4.6 ounces. Okay, so it's not even close. The Iun, the most recent katana I reviewed, is 2 pounds, 5.3 ounces. Still doesn't get there. My Drem Shobu is 2 pounds, 5.1 ounces. Bohayu is actually same weight. Now, both the Drem and the Bohayu don't have bohis. The Drem sword is a Shobu Zakuri. The Bohayu is a Shinogi Zakuri. So, but their weight is the same. Handle length's the same, everything. So, it's kind of cool. Now, the Murasami, which I have on the table here, which is this one, it's an L6 blade. Okay. The Lee sword, I should kind of include this, Lee sword, the Bohayu sword, are both T10, and the Drem and EU, they are 1095. So they're basically almost the same metal. Okay. The Murasami is an L6. Okay. So that's an L6 blade. It is actually 2 pounds, 8.2 ounces. So getting closer to being relatively close to the same weight. Sawadi. Now, Sawadi they got a beefy blades and they're wide, especially at the base, and they have a nice taper to it. It came in close in second. So my Sawadi is 2 pounds, 6.7 ounces. Okay. And then my Shin sword, it didn't even make the cut neither because it's 2 pounds, 4.5 ounces. So it's actually lighter than my Lee sword that I have. Now all these are Shinogi Zakuris except for the Drem, which I've said is a Shobu Zakuri. None of them have bohis. Okay. So I made sure I got swords that didn't have bohis. They're all pretty much the same length except for the Honshu. 27.5 to 28-inch blades. Okay. So relatively close to one another. Now, this one's got 30-inch blade. Okay. So that's a pretty generous blade. This is a 1060. That's what these are. 1060 blades. So let's go with point of balance on these two swords. All right, so let me tilt the camera down so you guys can see. As you can tell, here's the POB stand. And like I said, it does have a notch here. See if we can get that in there. Because on the back side of most katanas, it's got kind of like a roof there, you could say, a pitch. So let me find it here. It's not difficult to find the POB once you have it on there neither. Okay, so there we go. Now I measured this one, and what I did was I did 2 measure points on this. From the center of the dowel rod here to the Baki. Okay, that comes out to be 4.5 inches. So obviously if I go from center of the dowel pin to the Suba, 5.5 inches. Okay. So, and this feels good in the hands. It really does. All right. The weight and balance is really nice. You got a little bit of front heaviness with it. Not terrible though. Okay. So, even though this is a heavy sword. Now, let's go with the Honshu. Okay. Now the Honshu, the back is actually perfectly flat. So this one's a little bit trickier. Actually, let me turn this. That's the nice thing why I don't glue it. So it's not trying to sit in that V. This one's a little bit trickier to do. Give me a sec here. Because now I can't get that balance. There we go. So there's the balance point. Let's recheck this. Yeah, it's the same. Okay, so again, from the center of that dowel, I'm calling this section right here the Habaki, even though it's not. So from this point to the center of the peg is 4 1/4. So from the center of the peg to what would be the Suba is 5 1/4. Now people will go, that's awesome. I mean, the more you get it to the handle. Yes and no. There's problems with that. Okay. Because when you grab this thing and you have it in the hands, you feel the weight. Okay. First off, handle length. Okay, on this. So let's take this off of here. There's a lot of factors that play into this. So this handle from here to here is only 8 1/4. Handle's way too short. So you're taking all the weight in the handle of this thing. And then you have an extremely thick blade. So I measured the taper on this. Okay. On this blade. So it's 1/4 here. And when it gets to the end here, it's only 3/16. So it's only a 16th difference. So this is extremely thick blade. So now you've just shoved all that weight into the handle, which kind of makes it a little unruly. You want it kind of balanced out so you don't have all that weight just in the handle. I mean, it's got some heft to it, but when you grab it, you feel all that weight and it just makes it kind of uncomfortable. So when you grab this thing, I got to put my hand down where this pommel is. Okay. And then if I grab it traditionally like you should, look how close my hands are. They're extremely close. And I'm trying not to choke up. So if I bring this hand up, I've got to change my grip stance a bit. So it's less of this like it should be and more of a hammer grip almost. That doesn't work too well at all. Whereas if I've got this guy, I have plenty of room and it's comfortable. So that's a big difference. And that handle on the Murasami is 10 1/2. So a bunch of things play a factor into it. So that's weight-wise, the balance wise of these. So the next step will be, let's see how it does in a draw cut. Oh, almost forgot one thing. The corrugata, which is this right here that your sagio gets tied to, is way too far back. So this, from this end, because you want to measure from the back side here to where the mouth, the koruguchi is 5 5/8. So if you are using this in a belt, because the belt's going to stop right here, from here to here, you have all that sticking up in your way. Okay? On the Murasami, if you measure from here to here, is only 4 1/8, I do believe. Is what it came out to be. Yeah. So 4 1/8. That's a big difference. So you're only going to have that portion sticking out of your belt, which is not that bad for interference. But this wise, that's going to really, because if you're moving the sword around, that could hinder you, because this is going to hit you. Your elbow is probably going to hit that. The other thing is this wrap that they have on here. You don't know how much that is going to interfere with putting it into an OB belt. So we'll have to see. I haven't tried it yet. This will be the first time trying it. Again, I love the look of this thing, but I can't give it praises. The other drawback to these, I mentioned this in my review, is the guard. So basically, that's just good enough to keep your hand from sliding on the blade, which with all the grip they have on there, I don't see that happening. But if you wanted hand protection, this thing's not going to do it. It's just not. It really isn't. Unlike, traditional. You're going to have somewhat... People go, well, Japanese subas weren't that big. No, but that's enough to catch a blade if it slides down. If their blade slides down yours, it's enough to stop it and catch it. All right? Whereas this guy... Really, you got a lip there, but it could skip out and still come down and get you. So there's, like I said, pros and cons. Not to mention, I know the pommel, because I can tell, is aluminum. I don't know about that. It might be aluminum. I haven't taken a file to it. Whereas I know on the guard of the Murasami is an alloy, but depending on what type of alloy it is, it could be actually a very strong alloy. Like copper could get pretty strong. Bronze is a strong alloy. Things like that. I know this is just straight up alloy, probably not the highest quality, but you still have, you take it out, you definitely have more protection and more room, so a blade, if it skates off, when it hits right here, it's not going to skate off and down onto you. So, all right, so let's move to now draw cuts. Okay, so now we've got draw cuts. Draw cuts. Let's see how it does. So first, we're going to use, of course, the Honshu. We're going to see how it fits in the belt, how it does, all that good stuff. I'm not going to wear the wakizashi with this, which is fine. Now, I know some of you are probably like, but it's not meant for traditional use. Granted, but what if that's what you want to use it for? Okay. So far, I mean, it sits like it should. It really does, but I can't go back any farther. So far I already have a bunch of this sticking out. So let's see how it works. Okay, so let's do just a simple draw. Unless I shove it back far enough. Let me see if you can see that. So there it is. I have, oh geez, a good 7 inches sticking up still right here, right in my way. Now let's see about putting it back. Yeah, this does not work very well already for this, I can tell. Like I said, I know some are going to go, but it's not meant for that. I don't want to hear it. So let's try another one. Well, that kind of works. Ceiling's not that high right here, so that's why I'm not trying to do it fast. But still, I have all this sticking up still. That's kind of uncomfortable. And trying to move it in my belt just isn't working. Because I can't... Okay. I can't shove it back any farther. So, it's not working out too well. Alright, now let's try. Now this does have ranting, I will say that. It's got a rant and wrap on it. So, we'll see how this works. It's not very high wrap though, which is kind of nice. Let's see how this works out. Okay. Oh yeah, what a difference I can feel already. So if we draw it, what a difference. And then if we go to put it back, I can really move the saya back and forth with this freely in a belt. So that's already like a hindrance with all that stuff they have on the saya for the Honshu. So I'll try another one with this. We'll see what else. So yeah, see, I get to already, that's only because of the wrap right here. But it's more, I can actually, if I wiggle it, it'll drop even more. So far, I mean, it's not horrible to do a drop, but it's like, it doesn't move as freely as a traditional saya, so. In fact, I don't even know if this side is wider, because it feels, I don't think it is. I think it's just me. But let's see if it might be. It might be a little bit wider. Like I said, it might be me, but it's really, I don't know. It's uncomfortable to try and do techniques with this. It really, really is, compared to like a more traditional style. Like I said, this does have ranting wrapped around it, so that kind of like, you know, equals out for the wrap that's on this with this, but this ranting wrap's not very thick at all compared to, you know, you look at how much that's on there compared to just that wrapping right there. It's not much. Because lengthwise, if I equal them up, the wrap on this is longer than this. So, would I use this for traditional draw cuts? No, absolutely not. So how would you draw this damn thing? if you had to use it, like in real life. I mean, this, yeah, you easily slip it right into an OB belt, walk around with it comfortably all day. This thing, you would probably have to carry it in your hand, then just draw it and throw the saya to get it out of your way. Otherwise, you have that in your hand if you wanted to use both your hands. So it's kind of a discouragement, you know. So let's see how they both compare in doing cuts. Might do draw cuts. I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to, as much as this saya sticks out of a belt. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, let's try this. First, the Honshu. It does cut good. I'll give it that. For having a double beveled edge. It does cut good. Doubt I can cut that again though. Oh yeah, I can. Got it. But I definitely don't like this saya. It's way uncomfortable. So let's go with now the L6. Okay. Got the L6. Cutting wise, not bad. But it is kind of uncomfortable to use. Nope. Let's go with another. Go to the sword bottom now. I feel I've got more control with this, even though I just hit my damn stand. But I feel like I got more control with this than I do with the Honshu. But that was a really good freaking cut I just did. Kind of nicked my stand right there. That's alright. So, let's see. 2 more targets. So we'll go back with the Honshu. So, we'll see. Let's try the opposite way. Nope. The way I have to hold this feels like I have no control of it. I mean, if you're going to go for right-handed, right to left, it'll do good, but yeah, it's hard to control because of the way you got to grip it because the handle's so short. And that vibration in it. And I'm noticing the rubber handle feels like it's shifting on it. So, well, let me clean this up and I'll give you my final thoughts on this. We'll go from there. So, give me a moment. Okay, so my final conclusions on this thing. Because I felt I didn't give it fair enough dues, testing it and everything else. Granted, I didn't do abuse tests. I don't do that because I appreciate that people took the time to make some of these, even if it was done with the machine. Okay. But with that being said, could this be a fun sword to play around with? It could. Granted, it is a 1060 blade, so you can't do heavy target cutting with it. But this handle, it doesn't do it. It doesn't do it justice. I think if they at least made this handle longer than what it is, it'd be more controllable. You know, cutting right to left is fine, but when I have to go right to left, because I have to put my hand way back here on this thing to give it enough room so I have enough leverage, and it just doesn't do it. It really doesn't. Cuts just fine, even though it's got a double beveled edge on it. That edge won't last long, though, if you're going to do a lot of cutting. But you could have fun with this. Like I said, not really designed for traditional katas, if that's what you're going to do. Obviously, I know that's not what it's designed for. But with that being said, it would, like I said, it's a fun little thing to cut with. Would I rely on this if I had to save my life? Probably not. I would not do that. Okay? Because, I mean, you figure, all right, they're giving it the name a tactical sword. It should have more control in it. You know, like I said when I first reviewed this, it's like they started out great, had a good product, and then they just went, fuck it, let's stop right there. You know? And that doesn't work with this thing at all. I had more control with this L6 and more comfort than with the Honshu. So, now like I said, I know Dragon King has a modern style. I don't have it. My biggest question with that one is because the scales they have on it look smooth. So my biggest question with that on that one is if it gets wet, is it going to get slippery in the hands? You know, because something like this, if the cedar wrap got wet, it's really not going to get slippery because it's going to absorb it. You know, like kind of like this, it's got knurling on it and grooves, so your hand's not going to move around that much. So that'd be my only big thing, but I wouldn't know unless I had one. So, to try it. But I see nothing wrong with that one. Because basically it's a modern katana with modern material. That's all. Bottom line is, swords are just swords. That's it. I don't care what name you slap on it. It's still a sword. So, calling this a tactical katana, it's a sword. It does one thing. It cuts stuff. That's it. That's all it'll be designed to do. Like I said before, when I first reviewed this, there's nothing tactical about this whole damn thing. And a lot of you have watched my videos in the past. You know how I feel about that word just being slapped onto anything. But it's a fun sword to cut with. But be aware, you do get a vibration in this handle. And it makes it so uncomfortable when you cut, especially if it's a little bit thicker bottle. Like the water bottles I was cutting with this thing was fine. Zip right through it. When you went to a little bit thicker, you felt it. It wasn't like horrible, but you feel a vibration in both your hands just going right down that tang. And you shouldn't be feeling that. But that goes back to they had a great product designing it and everything, and then they dropped the ball. So that's just too bad. Because like I said, I want to like this thing, but I just can't like it 100%. You know. And then if you did want to carry something like this, how do you do it? I mean, yeah, you can put it on your back, but you still have to take it off your back to receive it. Not to mention, is a 30-inch blade. Is your arm long enough to do that? These are questions, that some may find interesting, some may not even think it's important. That's fine. But I also think about those things, So that's about it. That's all I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this one comparing the Honshu tactical katana to a more modern, or excuse me, not modern, more traditional katana. So this is why I hate when people try to reinvent a katana. It's like trying to reinvent the wheel. It'll never happen. So that's all I have for you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see y'all later.